Hello, everybody in Social Work 668. Welcome to week 9. We will go ahead and get started for the week. So this week we are going to be focusing on single system and group research design. So for this week, we really want to start thinking about our final project for this semester, which is really our program evaluation. And our program evaluation, like our logic model, is in the form of a proposal. So we are really predicting what might happen if we got funding for this project. Okay, so just a quick reminder, be proud. You are way more than halfway through the semester. This year, everyone is doing fantastic in this course. Last week, we really focused on client satisfaction, surveys, and sampling. So you were asked to really focus on sampling design in your weekly assignment. So whether or not you're going to engage in a probability sample or non-probability sample. So I will be delivering feedback on that shortly. So this week, we're focusing on single system group research design. I'm going to walk you through the difference of those because you're really going to have to choose and select one of those for your final program evaluation assignment. So for our weekly assignment this week, I want to make this lighter on you, really kind of focus on resting after what seems to be a really long semester. So your participation for the week is embedded within your soft chalk lessons. That will be worth 5 points. There is not an additional journal assignment, discussion board, etc. I'm just opening a space up for you all to connect as we think forward the next couple of weeks, as we are going to engage in a very brief assignment thinking about using Excel for some quantitative data analysis. So just some time to connect with each other. If you so choose, this is totally optional. Just a reminder, soft chalk will be our only participation this week, and it will be worth 5 points. Okay, so how do we know whether or not we should engage in a single system or group research design for our final program evaluation? I can say that most of my students engage in what's called a single systems design. And it's very similar to what is known as a single subject research design, which I know some of you cover in your practice classes when you're really tracking a client's behavioral outcomes over time. So similarly to that, a single system is really focused on one organization. So let's say you've decided to focus your program evaluation on implementing your intervention with one organization only. That organization is really acting and operating like a case study. So that is a bounded case, that is its own ecosystem. You are not really opening up that design in terms of your sampling to, let's say, multiple agencies or every single child welfare worker in the state of Kentucky or in Washington or Arizona. You're really keeping it tight, working with one organization. That is where most of my students land for this course because they do their program evaluation assignment, thinking about their practicum site or their place of work. So it's a bounded case. Next, we're going to cover group research designs, which are a little bit different because you're really opening yourself up to an entire population. So everybody has an equal chance of being selected. Whereas a single system, you are really focusing on the case, which is really considered to be intra-subject research. So the data are related to what happens within this individualized or closed system. So let's focus on an example of what this could look like in practice. So this, in our Royce textbook for this week, we're going to go over all sorts of different research designs. So I want you to really hone in on what you think could work best. But this single systems design is considered to be an A-B-A-B intervention. So we first want to locate the independent variable, which is what is being manipulated experimentally. So what is being manipulated experimentally is your intervention. So you are all developing an intervention which is going to be implemented with your population of focus. So that is your independent variable. Our dependent variable is what is going to be impacted by that intervention. And in this case, for this chart below, in this example, that is levels of depression. So that is our outcome measure. So we are going to look at the observation points on our x-axis and our dependent variable on our y-axis, which is level of depression. So a good single systems research design, AB design, would be that you are, let's doing 6 weeks of measurement with clients prior to implementing your intervention. Let's say it's a CCBT, or computer-based cognitive behavioral therapy intervention with clients. So let's say you're like, I need to get a baseline, so I need to understand where the clients are at prior to implementing the intervention, the CCBT intervention. So the next 6 weeks, we're like, okay, we're going to see if depression goes down with the intervention. And let's say, yes, it did. And then we're going to remove the intervention again completely and return back to baseline. And we see that our clients kind of level out. And then we're going to implement the intervention again. And then we can see that our clients' level of depression goes down. So we, for this assignment, are not expecting you to actually track client outcomes related to your dependent variable. This is just an example of how an AB design would operate. So for your program evaluation assignment, you just have to explain what an AB research design is, or sometimes students do an ABA research design. We are not expecting you to track any client data, but this is just what it would look like if you were to go through the entire program evaluation process. Okay, secondly, group research design. So this works really well for my students that, let's say, are engaging in a population that really falls outside of one single organization. So the example I like to give is, let's say, every single child welfare worker in your state. So over the years, some of my students have really focused on let's say, burnout within child welfare workers. So they might be engaging in an entire pool of subjects across the state. So everyone, let's say, that works for child welfare or the cabinet could be involved in what's known as the pool of subjects, or our sampling frame. And so the key to group research designs is you are going to engage in randomization. So every single child welfare worker in the state of Kentucky, let's say, has an equal chance of being selected to receive the intervention, which, let's say, is a program designed to reduce burnout, let's say a job redesign program. So the results are focused on generality. So we can really generalize our results to the entire population in the state because we have invoked randomization. And they always involve a pretest of the dependent variable. In this case, the dependent variable would be workforce burnout. So I want to walk you through 2 examples of true experimental designs. So the first one on the top, let's say we have our subjects, which are parenting and pregnant adolescents. We are going to randomize that group into group A and group B. We are then going to involve pretest measures. So we really want to understand their baseline. So what are their social and problem solving skills? What are their problem focused coping? What's their school attendance, and what's their grade average? So one of those groups, so group A, is going to receive a new intervention, which is a cognitive behavior case management approach. Group B is going to receive treatment as usual. So what they would receive regularly from the organization, which in this case is case management. And then we are going to engage in post-test measures, saying, well, how did these 2 groups compare to each other in terms of social problem solving, problem-focused coping, school attendance, and grade point average? So straightforward, this is how you really lay out a group research design when you're engaging in randomization, intervention, pre-test, post-test. Very simple. Okay, let's look at test B, which is our post-test control group research design. This is a special research designed to engage in when, let's say, you do not have the ability to engage in pre-test measures. So let's say you are working for an agency and you are interfacing with clients who have families with alleged child abuse or neglect cases. There is no way to engage in a pre-test measure prior to having those families walk through your agency's doors. So for those cases, every single person we jump forward to the random assignment. And there is no pre-test measures. We are just exposing two client groups, Group A and Group B, one to the intervention, which in this case is investigative and family preservation services, and the second group, Group B, is just being exposed to treatment as usual or routine services. And then we're going to engage in post-test measures around parenting attitudes, satisfaction, in-home status of children, numbers of days in home, investigation findings, and number of crises. So then we're going to compare those two groups. Okay, so let's just hit on the highlights. So we want to really choose if we were going to engage in a single system research design or a group research design. So this chart does a great job of really juxtaposing those two designs against each other so you can decide which one is best for you. So single systems, you're really focusing on one organization. You're really looking for an organization that has a profile to suit the study. You're not engaging in randomization. There's a measurement of dependent variable, constant throughout the study. The results are individually assessed and all participants receive treatment, and data is collected throughout the experiment. And statistical tests may be used, but focus on socially and clinically significant results. Also, people tend to use qualitative measures, or I shouldn't say qualitative measures, or qualitative investigations, so lots of interviews with their population of focus rather than relying solely on statistical analysis. Group research designs, just to recap, it's a sample from the general population, let's say general population of clients, general population of workers throughout a larger area. We use randomization. We use an initial pre-test of dependent variables done on all subjects, if possible. Data, we look at averages from across all subjects. The experimental group tends to receive the treatment. The control group does not, or they get treatment as usual. And then we engage in a comparison of pre-post measurements. And we are able to use statistical results paired with randomization to rule out the probability that our results are due to chance. Okay, so in conclusion, really want to think about several points from different observations across single subject and group research designs. We want to also consider maybe the limitations of these designs. So considering that the assessment itself, so sitting down with a client and gathering baseline measures or post-test measures might actually be therapeutic to some participants. So we might actually see significant changes on par to actually receiving treatment through a new practice innovation or intervention. Second, interpreting the intervention outcome results should be informed by this. So interventions should be evaluated in comparison to initial intake and screening levels rather than the assessment process to detect the full impact of the entire experience. That's why that baseline measures are so important in these kinds of designs. And lastly, intervention outcome results should be informed by the observation, and this is specifically around women who were in the group 2, so had come to a child welfare organization with an active case. So women who showed assessment phase improvement showed the greatest outcomes during and following treatment. So we should also need to keep that in mind, that we tend to see the best outcomes while people are receiving treatments and right after, which is why sometimes it's important to include the aspect of your study where you are removing the intervention and then taking baseline a few months, not baseline, taking a follow-up data collection points a few months after the intervention ceases completely, to really understand the longer term impacts of the intervention. Okay, so next week, or our next session together, I should say, we're going to focus on measurement tools because I want you to think about what your outcome measures are, what your dependent variable is. So we need to think about ways, let's say, to measure depression. That could be through the PHQ-9, or measure burnout. So what is the best evaluation measure to look at key outcomes related to your evaluation? And just lastly, please know that learning is never done without errors and defeat. I really want you to be successful as we round out the semester. We're really on a downhill trajectory towards the end, towards graduation for many of you. I don't expect perfection. I just really want you to stay engaged with me throughout the semester. Please, I'm looking at the big picture, which is your graduation and completion of this course. Be patient, reach out when you need support, and just keep trucking along. All right, everybody. Hope you have a great week 9, and I will see you very soon. Bye.